Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to HOI4 as we are playing as the Soviet Union. So sorry about that last video being so much later than the other channels had theirs up. The embargo actually lifted at 9 a.m. and I had it ready for then. At 8 a.m. I had everything uploaded, ready to go, and I was just waiting for YouTube to process it. But unfortunately, something broke. It happens sometimes, and 4 hours later, at noon, I was still sitting there waiting for the processing to finish up. And I couldn't make it public because it was SD processing that I was waiting for, not just the HD processing. And so you can't even make it public until it's finished with that. As many of you guys know, I am on the night shift. I've been on night shift for years, so I have a different sleep schedule than many people. I typically go to bed about 6, 7 in the morning, and I wake up at noon. And so I was sitting there at noon when I'd normally wake up and I hadn't even slept yet. So I finally decided to just delete the video and re-upload it because clearly it wasn't ever going to process. So I went ahead and took a nap and slept for about 3 hours and got up at 3 to make the video public. So that is why my video is about 6.5 hours later than the other channels. Honestly, I probably should have had it ready well before then, so I didn't have to be subject to like long processing times or anything like that. But it is what it is. We got it out. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode, which we're fighting or helping fight in this Spanish Civil War. I don't think they're going to win this. The Nationalists are very much set up to win here. Remember, they're going to lose Catalonia here to the anarchists, so they won't have control of that. I assume they'll lose all this, and most likely we probably won't be able to help them out here enough to stop the defeat. And one thing I didn't think about was the change to the civil wars in one of the previous patches. This was a while ago, where you have to take every single province to win it, which means that we'll have nowhere to go with our units so that we don't get defeated, because every province has to be taken. So if they lose, which I think they will, I think we'll lose all 6 of these units. That's something I didn't think about. And I don't know of any way to save them outside of declaring war so that they'll pull the volunteers back. Because remember, we cannot ask for our volunteers back. That's not even an option. You can do that with the expeditionary units, but not with the volunteers. So because of that, I'm thinking about doing an early game war against Turkey. Because why not? Now, they're one of the more powerful countries on our borders to be fighting. You could also fight Poland instead, I suppose. Poland's a little bit more powerful, though, than Turkey as far as their number of divisions. If we just look, I don't know if we can see exact numbers here. 21 to 45 here, 25 to 56. So yeah, probably a few more extra divisions here. And so it would be easier, more than likely, to fight the Turks first. And so yeah, I'm thinking about just sending a whole army down here and attacking them. We could also send a naval invasion across, go to Istanbul, I suppose. Although I don't know if we have... Do they start with their naval invasion tech? Let's just take a look here. I think they might have the initial one. Yeah, they have the initial one. So we could send a naval invasion as well across here. We should be able to control the Black Sea. I don't know what kind of ship numbers they're looking at right now. 10 to 19. All right, well, that's about what we have in the Black Sea. We could have issues going across here then. And we can't get through here. And that's the other issue, is that we cannot get through or in and out of the Black Sea and into the Mediterranean here because of them controlling the straits. As that'd be another advantage. If we do it early here, then we shouldn't have to worry about them joining a faction. Now, I'd seen that they were guaranteeing the Romanians, as are several other countries, so they're not an option. Really, it's just Poland. Now, we could do either one of these 3 countries, but we actually have focuses that will lead us to wars with those. Actually, we can annex the 3 Baltic countries without a war if we go down our focus tree. So I'd prefer to do that. And I don't think there's a focus for attacking the Turks. I might be wrong, but I looked through here and I didn't see one. Yeah, these are the Middle Eastern ones, and none of these are about attacking Turkey. Over here, these ones do result in communist pressure on the Turks, and they may be considered one of the Balkan countries. Maybe we can do the ultimatums, and then you can try and annex them. They'll never agree to that anyway, because they're much more powerful than the Baltic states. So yeah, I think that's the best country to attack, and that's what we're going to do. Now, it's going to take a long time to justify our war goal, so we have to keep our divisions alive over here for a long time. I don't know if it's going to be possible or not. We'll just have to see. It's going to take 48 political power, 240 days, and that's because the world tension is so low. So I really don't know that this is going to work, that we're going to be able to keep them alive this long, but we're going to try. So we're going to create a new army down here, give them a front line, and we're going to have to make sure eventually, actually, no, let's not do that yet. I want to keep this guy over here. But what we will do is go ahead and put them in a separate theater so that we can prioritize all equipment for them. We'll also prioritize equipment for our volunteers here. And what we're going to need to do before we send more units down here is fix the railroad situation here. So we're going to need to do that before we send units. And then, yeah, I think we'll also do a naval invasion over here. So we'll probably create a new army for all that. Let's put them over here. We'll change all the colors and put generals in charge and all that kind of good stuff a bit later. Let's go ahead and set the naval invasion up for Istanbul. I don't know if this will work. I guess we'll find out. They'll probably be defending it, but maybe not. Maybe we could attack there instead. Well, let's try this one and see if we can't get a win here. And we'll want to send more than 4 divisions, of course. Let's see what all we got. We don't really have a whole lot here, guys. Yeah, there's really not much. Let's send these guys down here now. And we'll just put them like right here. We'll have them take the railroads as well. Maybe another mountain troop over there as well. Just so I don't forget that these guys are here. And they're somewhat close for when they're ready to go to war there. So yeah, we'll just take some of these divisions over here. You can see they're actually having supply issues, so that's a problem. All right, so get these guys assigned here. We can do up to 10 divisions. I don't know if we can support them supply-wise here. But yeah, we are having supply problems in multiple places. Again, the railroad system that the Soviets start with leaves a lot to be desired. So when would this war start? The 29th of May. Okay, so next year, next summer, we'll see if we can't keep these units here alive until then. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to take every single province to win this war. And so if they did that, then our divisions would have nowhere to run and hide to, and they would get completely wiped out. That would be the only way for them to win, is to wipe our divisions out. I'd prefer not to lose these 6 divisions. If we lose them, we do. It's not a big deal. The main reason why we're here is for the army experience, but it's 6 divisions. You don't want to lose 6 divisions if you don't have to. So we got the socialism in one country. So I noticed whenever I cover the Soviet Union, and once when I covered communist China, I typically have about a half a dozen comments or so over the course of several videos that are like correcting me about the use of the terms socialism and communism, you know, as if I'm using them incorrectly. But I think the majority of people, particularly here in America, don't know the difference between those two terms. Overall, I think most people misunderstand ideologies and get them confused. And as somebody with a degree in that, you know, it's just something I noticed. So I will talk about the differences between socialism and communism, what the words mean, at the end of this video. I'll try and keep it brief. I'm doing it at the end because I know I've already had this discussion, explained this a couple times in past videos. So some of you guys have already heard it, but we'll put it at the end. And also, you know, it's not really related exactly to Hearts of Iron 4 or the series, so we'll put it in the back end so you can watch it if you want to. If you don't, then you can just go ahead and end the video once we're done with the gameplay. But let's go ahead and get the next focus along this branch here, the collectivization process. It's reducing the number of consumer good factories we'll need. We're gonna get more max factories in the state. That's great. Construction speed goes up. There are some penalties though. We're gonna lose stability and war support, but we're also gonna gain some civilian factories, and very importantly, we're gonna reduce Stalin's paranoia by 20. As of right now, let's just see where his paranoia is at. It's at 0% because we just did that focus. That's right. So no problems with it at the moment. I did want to make some adjustments to our divisions, and I know they're currently in battle, but it'd be better to do it now, I think. Now, it's not these guys, it's the tanks I wanted to make an adjustment to, because we only have the engineer company in there right now, and we know that we want to get the armored recon company. So let's go ahead and do that, speed them up a little bit. Now, currently, their max speed is 12 kilometers. If you actually looked at one of those tank divisions in a province, once they're being modified by train and supply and everything else, their speed is going to be significantly lower than that. So it does actually help you getting that recon speed, as well as, of course, the reconnaissance bonus. Those are all helpful. Now, one thing I considered doing in one of my playthroughs, because the motorized is so darn slow compared to how fast we can get tanks now, I've been considering like completely removing, let's just save this real quick so I can show you guys what it looked like, but I've been considering completely removing the motorized once we get tank organization a bit higher. Couldn't do it now because tank organization is just too darn low. So we'd be looking at 12.5 organization, but look at the speed. We'll have the full speed of the tanks. And so I really am considering doing that, taking out the motorized, something I've never really done in my series, but I'd love to have like some super fast tank units. At that point, we'd have to already have medium tanks, of course. Is that the only adjustment I wanted to make? Let me just double check here. I think that was it. Yeah, we could put anti-tanks in there, and perhaps we will, but not right now. I don't see any point on doing it at the moment since we're not really fighting any tanks over here. We could put artillery in there, but I don't know that we have the guns. No, we're still short on that. Maybe if we get some actual guns to go in there, we'll do that. But yeah, we're just going to try and stick on the defense here because I don't think an offensive has been launched. When you have this, it can be difficult to win. Simply that 90% division attack is huge. So I don't know that we'll be able to launch any offensives until the Spanish actually plan one, and I'm not seeing any here. So yeah, we'll just have to stick on the defense. We missed our opening last episode where we could have took that railroad. We did get the interwar artillery. I want to say we already had all these. Yeah, we already had this, probably from the anti-tank over there. So nothing new here. And that is all the techs here that we'll be getting. So we could go in and get the tech here giving us some defense and breakthrough. That would help us out immediately. We could also go ahead and get some more support companies. I think that would be useful. How are we doing on the industrial techs? We still need to get the construction. Okay, I think that's what we're going to do. Let's go and grab the construction so we can build these civilian factories a little bit faster. We do have to keep our eye on that paranoia because we're going to, when it gets up to 20% or so, we're going to use this. Just trying to keep control of Stalin, stop him from killing all of our peoples. So yeah, we'll just sit on the defense here. We can keep it on speed 4 while it happens. There's really not a whole lot of maneuvers to do again until they plan an offensive. We're not getting those huge penalties, so we'll just keep our eyes on that. And maybe it's over here? No, it's not over here. There's nothing here. So you could attack into that way, but you'd have to get past this location here first. You can see that they're losing territory over here on the coast. As of right now, we're just kind of protecting Toledo, keeping them from bursting through here. We could also defend up this way, but I'm a little bit worried about getting stuck. The railroad is absolutely critical for us in this conflict, where the Spanish get all their supply from Madrid, so these guys would be fine if the nationalists push through here and grab any of these railroad provinces. The Spanish would be fine. They'd still get supply here, but we would not. Our supply is coming from the ports, and so if they lose any of these railroads, then we'll be in trouble, quite a bit of trouble. We wouldn't have any supply. So we have to make sure we help protect the railroad. So if we see them at all moving towards that, we could grab this real quick. That'd cut that guy off. I'd prefer to do it with a tank, but I don't think he'd get over here in time. We'll try and get across this river and cut this guy off on the railroad. They might be moving somebody. Yeah, they're going to try and move somebody, but they're being attacked right now. So we might be able to grab that railroad location. That'd be helpful. Yep, we're able to grab it. Excellent. And we are still getting a penalty here as an unplanned offensive. Now, I imagine they're getting penalties in several locations as well. They can't possibly have, planned offensives everywhere. And yeah, this is what I was worried about, is them advancing here. Yeah, that's a problem. If they continue that, we're going to have to come... Oh, we got pushed back over here. So I guess we can use these guys to protect the railroad. Use the tank. We could also bring the tank over here and see if we can't get this unit destroyed. In fact, I want to put a mountain troop right there. Let's go ahead and retreat from here. We'll leave the tank there to defend. This guy's already retreating, so he can come over this way. And yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and make sure that we don't get cut off here. You can see they're advancing. I'll try and go into this one. I don't know if I'm able to get there in time. 3 days and 22 hours. No, he's going to be there in any moment. All right, so we'll just go up here then. Yeah, I'm going to try and destroy these units. If we can get a win right there, then that would be big for us. It does look like we're probably going to get pushed back here. Yeah. I guess if we attacked here, instead of going to defend there, still waiting for this mountain troop to move, and we'll put them over here, and then we'll attack there. It doesn't look like we're going to win that, though. Yeah, just try and help where we can. Once we get the 150 political power, I think we're going to change up our economic laws. Yeah, I think that would be the best thing for us to get, because we're getting some huge penalties being on the civilian economy. So we did get the concentrated industry. Excellent. Not in 1937, so no point on getting these 1937 techs yet when we're getting a penalty. We could go for the radio, and that would be immediately helpful for our troops. Now, you'll notice that we already had the basic radio for our tanks. You know, we were already able to add those into that tank division at the end of last episode. So we have the basic radio, even though we don't have the tech for it. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I noticed that in my other playthroughs, that you don't actually need this tech to get the basic radio. I think the next radio is down here, and look at the massive bonuses here, guys. So that one's 25% bonus to defense and breakthrough. This one's 45%, and it just keeps getting higher. These radios are just super powerful for the tanks. So I think we're going to get this one, even though we don't need the radio, because we'll still get these bonuses here, the coordination and the reinforce rate. And the reinforce rate, that's a huge bonus, 5%. So yeah, let's go and knock that out. I think it would help us over here in the Spanish Civil War. We did get this tank here. They're about to beat us there. It looks like they're attacking with more than one division, though, so I don't think this is going to work. And I don't believe we'd be able to break through here anyways. No. All right, so none of this is going to work. Now, the Spanish might get there in time. Probably not, though. We'll see. I'm not going to exhaust myself on it, though. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get there in time. We'll be pushed back. Although, I don't know. Yeah, they got the Spanish got a division there in time, which is excellent. But you can see they're having supply troubles here. All these troops. We'd need an additional mountain troop, though, to be able to get the win there. Let's go over here to help them protect that province. I don't want them advancing any further here. If we can stop them anyways. Alright, so now they're attacking that location. So we'll stay there to make sure that unit doesn't get cut off. And of course we're attempting to get our war goal against the Turks. And we'll have that done in May. So yeah, I don't think we'll be able to attack and win anywhere here, guys. I don't really feel like sending the tanks in the mountains would be wise. We have another mountain troop over here. I suppose we could bring him up that way. Let's go and get tech selected. We just got the mechanical computing. Excellent. So I think we're going to go ahead and go after the defense and breakthrough bonus. 134 days here. Let's get that knocked out. We need to try and see if we can help here. We might not be reinforcing quick enough here. You can see they have a lot of supply issues there, though. Yeah, we'll just let the Spanish continue that. I think we're going to move this guy up here. In fact, let's move him on the railroads over there, just so he gets there quicker. Obviously, we'd have to wait until his organization gets up higher before we can launch the attack. But I still find that that's often the quicker way to do it. So once he gets his organization up, what we'll probably want to do here is like actually get a planning bonus. And then we'll put this guy here. Well, we're not attacking here, so they don't have to have a planning bonus. Just hopefully they don't move over here. Alright, so look at a planning bonus here that we'll be able to use on the attack. So we'll attempt to attack right there. Looks like we got pushed back here again. That division might get cut off and destroyed. And then all of this is pointless. Just got to keep our eye on the railroad situation here, though. Make sure they don't advance too far. Okay, so that didn't go the way I wanted it to go. There probably should be different fronts here. Doesn't matter anyways, because they were able to push the Spanish back here. We could try and get over here, so if they attack across the river, at least we get the river bonus. But yeah, this is clearly not going to work. They are moving towards Madrid right now. Okay, so let's bring the tanks over here, and let's just delete this front. Because if we're not attacking, we don't really need a planning bonus, do we? But yeah, send the tanks over here, make sure they can't get into Madrid, because that would be disastrous. But, you know, quickly hurt the Spanish quite a bit, since I think they have several factories here. Well, we got that 150 political power, so let's go ahead and make use of that. We're going to be changing up the economic laws to partial mobilization, which is going to help us out quite a bit, particularly when it comes to building these civilian factories that we're working on, which we're almost done with those. And then we'll want to fix the railroad more than likely in certain areas. Not the entire railroad and all the problems that the Soviets have, just a few locations, particularly the ones that are going to be important for the invasion of Turkey here. And then we'll be able to send more divisions down there, because frankly we don't have enough there yet. So we've gotten this one knocked out. That's gave us 2 civilian factories, and we can't go to the next one yet because we do have to get the workers' dictatorship, and we can't get this one either until one more day. So we're going to give it 1 day, and then on the 17th of December, we'll go ahead and grab that focus, which is going to result in the next Great Purge, which, remember, cannot be avoided. It's 35 days. That will reduce his paranoia, and his paranoia is good right now, so we should be able to make it, because I think that's a 35-day one. Yeah, so we don't have to use that decision yet, which is good, because once you use it, you don't get to use it again for quite a while. It's some time before you can use it again. Yeah, we're just kind of stuck on the defense here, guys. That's fine. I mean, again, we're just trying to make it to May when our divisions will get pulled out of here. I wasn't even sure if we'd be able to make it, but they're not really advancing that fast. So we should be alright. And if they start pushing back here, what we need to do is move all our troops over to the railroad, over to the port, while we have control of the railroad. It does look like our division here is about to lose. We'll keep fighting until the end, since we're getting the river bonus, but yeah, we're done now. So yeah, they're getting closer and closer to this railroad here. I'll tell you what, guys, my shoulders are absolutely killing me. I'm like so sore. I think I might have lifted the wrong weight. I was doing overhead presses, and I typically do 75 pound dumbbells for the overhead press, and I feel like I must have lifted more than I'm used to. I probably put too much weight on there because I had a lot of trouble getting the weights up. Usually I don't have any issues. I always lift with the 75 pound dumbbell, so total of 150 pounds. And I don't usually have any issues getting that up. But yeah, I struggled. And now I'm like stupidly sore today. My shoulders hurt so bad right now. So I think I might have put too much weight on there. Did some poor math or something like that. So we got in that civilian factory. How many do we have? Not a lot. Let's go ahead and work on the railroads here, though, just so I can put more divisions down here, and we can start getting planning bonuses and all that kind of good stuff. So the main issues with the supply here is the fact that you have level 1 railroads in several locations. So the supply can come all the way down here on the level 2 railroad, and then it's going to get stopped there, and you're not going to be able to get as much supply. That's going to be a bottleneck, and so you have to improve that one to get rid of the bottleneck. Another thing to do is to move supply all the way down here up along the coast. And the bonus to doing that, building the railroad down this way, is that if we wanted to move it up to level 3, let's say we weren't getting enough supply on the level 2 railroads, if we wanted to get up to level 3, that's a lot of railroads we'd have to build to fix that. Oh yeah, there's 2 locations with level 1 here. Okay, so you'd have to build both of those. So I just feel like it's better to improve this one to level 2, and then just build a railroad over to this one. And so that's the way we'll do it. And so we'll work on this railroad here. We'll improve that up to level 2 as well. It's going to take a while to get this done, but railroads are actually fairly quick to build. I think we also have some bonuses that are helping us out in that regard too. So yeah, we'll just work on these railroads so that I can put a bunch of troops down here for our invasion of the Turks. And you see they actually have quite a few divisions themselves. We'll have to see how well we're able to advance there. Let's take a look at our equipment situation. Infantry equipment's still pretty bad. Yeah, we still need quite a bit of it. All right, so really not any adjustments that we need to make there. We are in 1937 now. So we get our next techs. We'll want to start working on the 1937 techs. Yeah, they're moving after this railroad right now, guys. I'm going to try and push them back here. We'll have to see if we can make that happen. But we cannot allow them to seize the railroad from us, or else we're having to retreat away from Madrid, which I don't think they'd be able to hold on to Madrid without our assistance. It sure doesn't seem like it. Yeah, I do not like how close they are to the railroad there. We're going to attack here. Just kind of push this division back. Let's see if they have... Oh, they do. They have a planned offensive now. So they want to go up this way. So by attacking here, we're not going to get any penalties. All right, so that's excellent. So if we were going to advance anyway, that would be the way to go. Yeah. All right, so we knocked out this focus, which has resulted in the second Moscow trial. And we're going to see a bunch of people get purged. I think the only thing we really need to take a look at is if anybody we have, which we don't really have anybody in here yet. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that at all. All right, so we lost another batch of advisors. And we can move straight to the next one, so we will. because this one here requires that we have that one for 175, technically 176 days before we'll be able to get it. So this one's a 70-day one and doesn't really give us very many bonuses. We'll get more political power, I suppose, and also we'll have more political power gain. Yeah, it's not all that beneficial. Frankly, I hate that you have to go down that tree. There's so many focuses I'd rather be getting, but unfortunately those aren't really options at the moment, because you just have to get rid of that penalty. We could advance here, could even push up here, maybe go up towards Burgos here. I imagine they're going to bring a bunch of troops over here to stop us, and there's nobody here to protect this province if I advance anywhere that's not connected. So we probably shouldn't, guys. It sounds like it would be a good way to get ourselves cut off. If we brought another unit over there, but we don't really have any units available. These guys have to stick around here. We're actually losing that attack. Where's this into? This is in the plains. It'd be good to get a tank unit over here. But everybody's busy. Now, this tank unit's helping protect Toledo. They're attacking, or excuse me, protecting Madrid. This guy's protecting here. There's not really any other options. We'll try attacking again now that we got our organization back up. See if we can't push them back, get them off that railroad. Now they're attacking us here with no success. I'm not entirely sure why they're attacking with that division. Yeah, he's the one we defeated, and he's incredibly weak. So I think that's a bit foolish. So we actually have a bit of experience for spending. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we want to get with that. We could wait to get the doctrines, and I actually do want to go ahead and switch over to mobile warfare. It's unfortunate that we still have that penalty, so it's going to cost 120. But yeah, we could stay with the mass assault doctrine if we wanted to like role play and go down the route that Paradox designed for the Soviets, you know, the deep battle route here. But it's just not the way that I want to build our military out, and frankly, mass assault doctrine's not a very good doctrine tree. It's probably the worst of the four, honestly, because I kind of want to have a focus on tanks in this playthrough. So yeah, we're going to need to switch these over. And we'll probably want to switch them over before we fill out any of these, considering the fact that some of these are based off of the doctrine you have that you currently have. So like Queen of Battle is one that's unlocked from our current doctrine. And I don't know what happens if you grab one and then you change doctrines. Do you lose it if it's associated with that one? I'm not entirely sure, or if you keep it. And besides, there might be better doctrines, or excuse me, better spirits of the Academy that is locked from the mobile warfare doctrine. So we won't change any of these up. We could go ahead and grant something for the fleet. I mean, we're just sitting here with this Navy experience. So the three choices are the Spirit of the Naval Academy, Spirit of the Navy, or the Spirit of Naval Command. We'll start with the Spirit of the Naval Academy, since this would affect leaders. So with these three here, you're getting a 20% chance to increase admiral skills when they level up, decrease it beyond what you would normally increase it by. So it's a 20% chance. This is for getting some pretty good traits. This helps you get those traits quicker. That's really good for if you're, you know, using a battleship fleet. This one here would result in leaders being cheaper, and they start at level 1, or start 1 level higher, excuse me. While best of the best would result in them starting 2 level higher, and we'll get a little bonus to Navy intelligence. We won't grant as much to others. It's really not that big of a deal. But there are penalties to these ones. New admirals begin without any personality traits. And that's kind of a mixed bag, because of course sometimes personality traits are negative, sometimes they're positive, but you won't get any. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the best of the best, so we'll have better starting admirals. Again, not that the fleet's important, but we're sitting on all this Navy experience, so why not? We're going to get this one as well. So this would result in destroyers being cheaper to research, and you could design them quicker. This is a pretty big bonus for the naval designer cost. It looks like it applies to all ships. So you got a cruiser one, and then you got just the regular one on top of it. So you'd spend a lot less experience designing your ships, I suppose. This one would result in more naval experience. This one is the one we're probably going to go for. We'll look at that in a minute. This one here would allow us to repair ships faster, refit faster, and then this one allows you to research battleships and heavy cruisers faster, as well as design them for cheaper. We're going to go with this one because it just increases the research of all naval techs. And I want to say that the naval research speed would also apply to the ship modules. So ship modules, you'll be getting like a 40% bonus. So that's huge. And I don't think we'll be able to spend much time researching naval techs. I don't even know when we'll start working on those at all. And so I think it'll be good to be able to get those quicker. So we're not spending too much time, because again, you know, the fleet is just not going to be a focus of this campaign. As far as our railroads go, looks like we already got some of them done, which is excellent. So just go ahead and take a look at how the situation appears when it comes to the supply. I think we're probably good now. I mean, we still got to get this finished up. We might be able to throw troops in there. We'll just wait. We got plenty of time before May to get more troops down there. Just throw them on the railroad. They'll get down there in adequate time, I think. And we don't have to declare war in May. We'll have... Alright, we're going to move over... Well, I guess both these railroad locations are important. But yeah, we have, what, I think it's 90 days or something like that after you get the war goal to actually make use of it. A lot of troops over here, guys. The railroad is definitely exposed. It is a problem. Let's go ahead and retreat these troops out of here. Yeah, we are very much in a vulnerable position where all of our supply might get cut off here. I'll try and keep these guys over here for protecting Madrid. This is really not the best location for those mountain troops, honestly. But tanks are garbage on defense, so neither one of our division designs is really good for this particular location. I mean, yeah, we're going to need to bring at least one division over here. And we'll just have them take the railroads up to that point. But yeah, bring one division over here, make sure they can't seize these railroads from us. Maybe even come over to this location. They're holding out over here okay, and really no problems. Yeah, I don't see us having any issue making it to May to keep our divisions alive. And you know, we got some experience for the units. Several of these units are now much higher levels. This tank unit's a veteran. And then of course we got the army experience up here, which is the most important aspect of that. And you know, we'll try and get the mobile warfare as soon as we get 120 army experience. Alright, so they're now attacking this railroad, so let's go ahead and get over there to defend it. I think we'll go ahead and attack them here. I don't think that's going to have much effect. Nah, it's really not. I believe we are getting the defensive, or excuse me, the attack penalties here. Yeah. So that's why we're performing so horribly against them. It did turn yellow for a second there. We'll keep them fighting, I suppose. Let's try and help out here on this defense. Yeah, I think they're going to end up getting Madrid here. They're coming up from the back here, going after Valencia. Let's go and stop that attack now. Yeah, I don't think we're going to hold out much longer. Let's go and get this guy, this tank unit, pulling back to Toledo. Let's make sure he's retreating. We're still holding here. Could put him over here to help out there, but that's the hills. He's better off in the forest than the hills, though neither location is great for the tank. Alright, so now they're sending more units down here. So we'll have to get another unit to help them. And then this tank unit, I guess, will come over here to kind of hold this railroad location, because, yep, they're attacking. Alright, so not surprising to see that they're attacking again. Yeah, so we'll bring this tank over here to support them. Might bring this tank out of here as well, because, yeah, it does look like we're about to lose all this. Yeah, we're definitely going to lose all this. So we're going to have to retreat here more than likely as well. We'll try and keep the railroad protected as long as we can. We do have those civilian factories done. So I think supplies are probably good over here, but let's make sure, because there's a bunch of holes over here in the railroad system. So let's just make sure there's none, like no level 1s. There's one right there. But they still have these level 2s to bring the supply down, so that's not going to be an issue. I think we got it covered. Yep, once we get that built there, that'll be level 2 everywhere. Are we good on supply for these troops? Just double check here. Yep, they're good as well. Let's work on factories. Probably some military factories. Yeah, let's get a few military factories going. Get some in these 80% locations. And then we'll build back here. Again, I don't expect to get pushed really far back or anything, but it's always a possibility. Again, the AI is better. It's better than it was in previous versions of the game. There's a possibility the Germans could do incredibly well. We did give them 2 ticks as well on the AI difficulty. And these guys have rebelled here, broken off, the anarchists. But there wasn't really much territory left for them to take from the Republicans anyways. They'll probably be pushed out of the war very soon here. But it does mean that the nationalists have another front they have to focus on that has probably more divisions here than there were when the Republicans controlled it. We got the construction tech. Excellent. We are in 1937, so let's go and start getting 1937 industrial techs. I typically beeline to the focuses that grant the research slots for obvious reasons. You want to get those as early as possible. But the reason why we haven't done that is, well, there's two reasons. First of all, we've had to focus on getting these to get rid of that paranoia system, so that's one of the reasons. But the other one is that they're not really easily accessible. One of them we can't get at all. This one down here, we have to get the finish the 5-year plan, which requires 100 factories, which we don't have. We're short by 10. Once we get that, we can easily go through these ones in order to get the research slot. And I think these are shorter ones as well. Yeah, so this is basically, to get to this one, it's the equivalent of 2 focuses. So that would be the quickest one to get once you have the factory requirement. And then the other one is over here, and that also requires quite a few focuses to get, though I think all of them are currently available to us. But this one requires the equivalent of 3 focuses, because you have the 2 70-day ones here that you have to get, and then you have the 2 35-day ones. So a total of 3 70-day periods to get down to this tech slot. And so that's the reason why we haven't done that, is for those 2 reasons. But yeah, usually I try and get that as soon as possible. Alright, so they're going there, so we'll bring the tanks over here, because we're about to lose both of these locations. This one's not as important as this one, I suppose, since this one keeps that one supplied. The key here is our troops that are trying to protect Madrid. If we lose these locations here, then they will not have any supply, and we will have to retreat. We'll have no other option. Unfortunately, the paranoia did get high enough. We're just short of it. I really thought we could get to it. We're 3 days away. I believe this is one of our better admirals. We'll double check on that, but I'd prefer not to get rid of them. And then on top of that, you get the cowed by Stalin for 5 Navy leaders, which is not a great thing to have. And it's only going to tick the the paranoia down by 10, so it's not going to help that much. But if we try and save them, it's going to cost us 60 political power, and it's going to result in paranoia getting higher. Though I think we could probably get through this here, and that's a negative 50, so that would fix the issue. So I think in this particular case, I think we might save him. Let me just double check if this is, I mean, he's our 3rd best, but he has really good traits. Yeah, he's got great traits here. I like having the iron side and the ground pounder. So we're going to save him. We have the spare political power. And on top of that, you know, we're about to lose all that paranoia here in 3 days. Hopefully we can get to that before he fires another one. I think it's random whether he fires them or not based on that percentage. So we have 4 of our 6 units here. We lost there, thus the railroad will be cut off here, guys. So we're going to have to get the troops that are protecting Madrid out of there. We were able to get the workers' dictatorship, which did, oh, this added 50 political power. Okay, it only decreased paranoia by 10. I just looked at that wrong. All right, so we do still have a paranoia issue, but we have something we can do about that. We'll look at that in a minute. Let me see what focus we're going to get next. Probably the centralization and discipline. That's not going to help that much in regards to the improvement of that modifier. Just going to get some more command power, mobilization speed. But it will tick down paranoia by 20 and give us 50 political power. So we'll go with that, and it's also a 35-day one, so we should be able to get it fairly quickly. So we need to spend the political power to tick this down some. This will bring it down by 20, and it's going to cost us 25 political power. Get it down to 10, and hopefully that'll last us. We'll have to see. How much is it increasing by? 3% now. Okay, so yeah, Stalin has become more paranoia. And so it's ticking up by 3%. Let's go ahead and get these guys out of here, because again, they're going to be cut off by supply here very soon. As soon as we lose this railroad. So let's get them out of there. Could bring this guy over to here. Let's just try and protect this location. You know what? Let's let the organization get higher first. We have to make sure they don't break through here and take both of these, because then we don't even have the option of trying to retreat to the coast. How's the quickest way? That's the quickest way. So we're going to move these troops over to here. Let's send this guy into this province just to hold it longer. And then hopefully they'll be able to hold it until we get the 2 units out of here. And we'll just have to lose Madrid. It's unfortunate we weren't really able to do much this time around here. Now, given those units are kind of weak that we sent there. Not the greatest units. They're lacking equipment. We did get this, so that'll help with the defense. That's it for over here, I think. Yeah, that's it for over here right now. Now, I do want to start getting some of these knocked out, but we should probably work on the industrial tech since we did just unlock those. So let's go and get the construction 2 next. Now, as far as the excavation, you'll notice that we haven't done that yet. As the Soviets, there's only one resource we're really short on, which is rubber, and we don't have any of that. So therefore, I mean, we extract, what, 2? So therefore, we're not going to get, any bonus to that. And it's really not until we start having problems with the tungsten that we need to start getting excavation. Now, one benefit of getting excavation would be more civilian factories from the trading of those resources. We got this railroad done. All right, excellent. So I'm not entirely sure if that'll be enough supply. I'm trying to click on this theater so we can see. We might have to improve it some more, but as of right now, it's pretty good. Our supply is coming through our new railroad that we built, and so that should be okay. Yeah, I think that's all right. And we can also change up the motorization here if we need to. If supply becomes a problem, use trucks to get the supplies to our dudes. So let's go and start putting some units over on that front. We've already brought a couple of them, and in fact, let's go ahead and actually create a front. Let's kind of give them like a little dark green here, and then just give them an icon. Which one do we want to use? We will use that one. And then they need a general, and I'm thinking we're gonna do Zhukov. Yeah, maybe to get him trained up a bit. I always like trying to give some of these lower level generals some experience, but this one's going to be a little bit more challenging than our typical early war, because the Turks actually have quite a few divisions on this front here, and it's the mountains as well. Now we do have a lot of mountain troops, and so that'll help. Unfortunately, we have 3 of them that are in Spain right now, so that's a bummer. All right, so let's gonna move these guys. Maybe I shouldn't have picked green. I didn't realize that. Yeah, it's the same, pretty much the same color as this green. Let's make this a lighter green then. More greenish, or something like that. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's at least more noticeable, the difference. All right, so we'll have those 2 mountain troops going over there. How many divisions do we want to give them? Probably as many as we can supply here. Let me see if we have any more mountain troops. We'll just look through here. We do, in fact, have a couple extra mountain troops. Where are they at? One's over there. Are they both over there? Okay, so we'll keep one over here and just bring 1. All right, so that gets them up to 12 divisions. I think we could probably supply at least 15. So let's bring a couple tanks, because I don't think they have any tanks down here. No tanks. So we're probably going to want all tanks, actually. So we'll bring whatever tanks we have sitting around. We got these guys up here. Probably keep them there. We got 1 in Moscow. So we'll just bring these guys. And this one. Alright, so that gets them up to 15. We do have to train the tanks, by the way. We haven't trained all the tanks to get their experience back up to 100%. Now they have their division designs changed. So we'll do that. We got a couple months left, guys, before we'll get that Wargle. It'll be fun getting a early war started, and particularly one that's not going to be like super quick. Often we'll do like a little quick war with like the Dutch or something and quickly conquer them. But this will be a more challenging conflict overall, just because the Turks have quite a few divisions, and we're not in a good position, honestly, with all of our penalties. We haven't really got rid of hardly any of them. We will bring the Air Force if we have an air base. We have one right there. We will bring some planes. I can see how that could be beneficial for us. Let's go and put them in place now so we know if it's a supply issue having them here. I don't know if we're going to train them. I guess we'll train them. I almost want to just let them get their experience on the job, though. You know what? Let's just let them get the experience on the job. Remember, we have that penalty. Oh, we haven't researched close air support. Okay, I didn't realize that. So that's the next thing we need to get, essentially. As soon as we finish the radios, we'll go ahead and get the close air support so we can start building those. We won't have any close air support, unfortunately. But yeah, remember we had that huge penalty to the air accidents. We get a lot of air accidents, much more than usual. And therefore, I think it would be a good idea to not train them. Let's go and move these guys over to here. And need more troops to help protect the railroad. Not that it's really all that important at this point. Really, I feel like we should start preparing our defense of the last ports, though I guess we only got a month left here. Yeah, we keep fighting them. Let's just do as much damage as we can. And we're fighting the Germans and Italians, too. So we already know what we're getting here. We're going to go ahead and get the close air support since we don't have those yet. It's going to be a while. We won't have them for the war in Turkey, obviously. That's okay. I want to say we did have some tactical bombers. Got the strategic bombers. Could use those. But yeah, I don't want to take the air accidents. Those are just too expensive to make, to have them going out there. But the interwar bombers, yeah, we can use those. Oops, I didn't want to put that many over there. We want 200. So yeah, we'll bring them down here, and they can help us out. They're not great, but anything helps. And it's not like the Turks have a huge air force or anything. So we got another month here, and we'll pull the volunteers out and start the war against the Turks. So it doesn't look like we'll be able to do that this episode, unfortunately. We are still training up these tanks. They're almost done. Supply seems fine here, so there's no reason why we can't put more troops down here if supply is good. Although it looks like this location in particular has some supply issues. And I think part of that problem is because they're sending so many divisions there. Do we need to have troops on? Yeah, you do have to have troops there. Okay. I think we're going to rearrange the way these guys are set up here, though. What we can do is go ahead and make sure that these guys are using trucks and see if that will improve the supply situation here. And they were able to defeat the anarchist. So that was pretty quick. Yeah, it looks like that fixed the supply issue, for now anyways. So yeah, I think we'll make an adjustment to the infantry design. What we'll do is we'll duplicate this. So for right now, we'll just call them Soviet infantry. I did duplicate that, right? Yeah. So we'll just call them Soviet infantry because I haven't seen all your guys' comments yet for the name suggestions. And then what we're going to do with these guys is actually get them designed as a decent unit with some engineer companies. And the reason why we're not changing those ones up, because then it would go to all of however many divisions we have of that infantry, 84 or something like that. So yeah, we don't want all of them getting this equipment. We only want the units on this front to get it, because we're going to give them a lot of artillery. Yeah, we're going to go and put some artillery over here. And as far as their overall size, I think we'll probably end up having it be 42 will be the overall size. We won't build that out here because it wouldn't be enough equipment for all of them, honestly. Yeah, we have spare artillery, but I don't think it'll be enough. So we'll just put 2 in here for right now. We'll keep the infantry situation as is. Do they have any tanks? Let's just see here. They do not have tanks, so there's really no point of putting anti-tanks there. I'm not worried about their planes either, so we don't need AA or anything like that. But we might want to go ahead and get... Yeah, we don't have those supply companies yet. Yeah, that's a problem. We need to get that. We could go ahead and put recon in here. I don't know that we're going to put recon in this infantry unit just yet, though. So I think this is probably good. The big thing here is that you're getting some actual soft attack, which will be huge for us. And making use of those guns that we have in our supply right now. So let's go ahead and save this, or in our stockpile, I mean. And then we're going to go ahead and turn any infantry unit that we have in here. Yeah, we actually have some of these cruddy ones here. So we'll take any infantry unit that we have and turn them into the Soviet infantry. Outside of the mountain infantry, of course. There we go. And so we want to keep them training up. So we might not declare war right here in May. We'll fast forward it and get to May. Keep our eyes over here on this situation. Yeah, we might not declare war immediately because I think we're going to want to get these guys trained up a bit. And yeah, you can see we are having some supply issues over there. Might need a level 3 railroad to keep them supplied, especially now that we have the planes over there. Ooh, they've actually taken the ports here, so we need to get down to this port like pronto. So let's get the hell out of here because yeah, they've taken all the ports. I didn't even see that happening. So yeah, we want to get all of our units out of here now. We might be forced to declare war on Turkey as soon as we get the focus in the 29th of May, because that's the end, because we're in a desperate situation over here where they might end up wiping our troops out if we can't get down to the support and then defend it, which it does look like they're going to lose this location here. So yeah, we need to move as quickly as possible, or down to this port. That would work as well. So we do have 2 potential ports here to move to. But we got to get that done if we don't want to lose those units. We got to live for 27 more days at least, which hopefully our troops will be done training. They should be all right. and we'll declare war if they're not. Now, as far as how many troops we're going to bring here, I don't know. We'll see based on the supply. We are going to get the winter expert here. But as of right now, it seems like we're kind of stretching the supply as is. So I don't know if we'll send any more. We could maybe send a couple more, though. A couple more infantry or something. Especially if we have some extra artillery in the inventory. We might. I don't think they've gotten their guns just yet. Yeah, we'll have to end the episode here, though before we do, I did want to briefly talk about the differences between socialism and communism, because it seems to be one of those like common misunderstandings. Just so you guys know where my qualifications are in regards to this topic, I do have a bachelor's degree. I have a bachelor's degree in history. I also have a bachelor's degree in political science with a focus on political thought, which political thought is ideologies. So I studied ideologies in college to get my degree, so I would say I'm pretty knowledgeable about this topic. So I find that most people think that socialism and communism are two different ideologies that are maybe related in ideas, but that they're completely different ideologies. And that communism is a totalitarian ideology that you would see in countries like Soviet Union, Communist China, Cuba, and that socialism is like a more benevolent ideology, a more democratic ideology, and that they would probably associate socialism with countries like the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, or with Germany, some of the other European countries. Those are the ones that would be associating with socialism. But all that's wrong. None of that is correct, and that's what I typically hear from people when they define the two terms. But none of that is accurate at all. So first of all, those European countries that we're talking about here, Germany and the Scandinavian countries, those are not socialist countries. They follow an ideology that in political science we call social democracy. And it's not even under the branch of socialist ideologies. In fact, it's more associated with liberalism, specifically welfare liberalism, which is one branch of liberalism. Some may define it as a blending of welfare liberalism with socialism. I would say that's probably not entirely accurate because it's missing many of the core features of socialism. The key things to look for to question whether it's a socialist country or not is, does it have a market economy? Does it have private property? Does it have private corporations that are making profits? These are all things that you won't typically find in socialism. The big one is market economies. If it's a market economy, it's not a socialist country. So these are definitely not socialist countries, and many of the people from those countries don't like that people consider them a socialist country because they know they're not socialist. You know, they have a market economy, they have private property, they have all these things that you wouldn't typically find in a socialist system. So I think that there's a misconception of what socialism is in the first place. So socialism is an ideology. And like other ideologies, like liberalism, it has many different branches to it, which have different doctrines, different beliefs, different ideals, ideal societies that they're trying to create. So there are noticeable differences between the different branches in all the ideologies. Sometimes they're significantly different from each other. But they have certain core tenets that make them part of that ideology. So when we specifically look at the Soviet Union, the ideology of their government was socialism. And then the branch of socialism that they followed was Marxism. That is the branch of socialism that their government subscribed to. Now, Marxism would further branch out into other sub-ideologies. And this happens with many ideologies, that even the branches will have branches. And so Marxism has several branches as well. Like Leninism is considered like a sub-branch of Marxism. Stalinism is also considered a sub-branch of Marxism. And so under Stalin, the most specific you could be regarding their ideology would be to call them Stalinist. Now, we don't typically say that, we just call them Marxists. We don't usually go into the very specifics because the differences between like Stalinism and Leninism aren't significant. They're all Marxist ideologies, and they're all part of socialism. So where does communism come in? If the Soviet Union is a socialist country that specifically follows Marxist doctrine, then what is communism? So communism is not an ideology at all. There's a lot of confusion with that, and you go on Wikipedia right now, it will tell you that communism is an ideology. It's not. So within Marxism, he had this theory that there is these different stages of history, economic stages of history, that we were going through, one stage at a time. And so the first stage was slavery, then it was serfdom, and then after that it was capitalism. And then from capitalism, he argued the next stage of history, economic history, is socialism. So socialism is when you have the dictatorship of the proletariat, because he didn't believe that you could have a democratic system become socialist, because he believed that the bourgeoisie, the capitalists, that they would stop any effort to create a socialist country. And so he believed that revolution was necessary. Marxism is at its core a revolutionary ideology, and that the proletariat, the workers, that they would have to rise up, seize control of the government, create a dictatorship. And so that's socialism, when the government is now under the control of the people, when they're able to start imposing socialist beliefs, socialist ideology on the country. And so that's the stage that the Soviet Union is in right now here in the game, and and historically in World War II, they were within socialism. No country in history has ever reached the final stage of Marx's economic history, and that final stage is called communism. That's what communism is. Communism is the final stage of economic history, when the state withers away. The state is no longer needed, and when I say state, I mean government. Government is no longer needed because the people just automatically do what they're supposed to do. The socialist ideas, they're so ingrained in humanity that you no longer need a government to enforce these policies. They just happen. So that's communism. So the idea of a communist government is a complete oxymoron, because communism means when the government is no longer needed, when it's withered away. And so Lenin named his political party, which it wasn't their original name. They changed the name of the political party to the Communist Party. He named it after this final stage in economic history, since that was his goal. His goal was to achieve communism in the Soviet Union and eventually the world. And so communism is not an ideology. It can refer to two things. It can refer to Marx's final stage of economic history, or it can refer to a political party that follows Marxist ideology. So that's the difference between the two. Socialism is an ideology, communism is not. It typically refers to political parties that follow the socialist Marxist ideology. And so they're not interchangeable, and they are not different ideologies that are competing with each other. It's not one's totalitarian and one is not. That's not the case. As far as democratic socialism, that is a separate branch of ideology. There is socialism that wants a democratic system, that wants to impose socialist ideas through democracy, through a liberal democracy, and that's called democratic socialism. Of course, that gets very confusing because you also have social democracy, very similar names, democratic socialism, social democracy. They're not the same thing. One is more related to liberalism, while the other one is a socialist, a branch of the socialist ideology that prescribes to a democratic style of government. So that's the difference. If you want to talk about socialism in general and whether they support democracy or not, you can't. It's some socialists do. Some prefer a dictatorship. Some prefer a democratic model. They're all socialist. So it doesn't have anything to do with that. But that's what I typically find, is that most people think communist is like the totalitarian version of socialism or something like that, because communist governments often are totalitarian. Now, the one exception here that I know somebody's going to bring up is Communist China today. Communist China today is we consider it to be a socialist country, and yet they have a market economy, they have private property, they have companies earning money for profit. That's because Communist China is no longer truly a socialist country. They have created a hybrid system where they have combined parts of socialism with a market economy. And it's not impossible to have a market economy in socialism. Again, there's one specific branch called market socialism that does have a market economy. Most do not. But I would say that they're not truly socialist anymore. They have so many elements from capitalism. They're not a fully capitalist society. Again, it's hybrid. So they're not a capitalist society. They're not a socialist society. They have a mixture there. And that is one reason why they have been so tremendously successful economically. There's several reasons, and we could do a full video about that. But a big part of it is that they have combined the two economic models with great success. More success than we've seen even in full capitalist societies. So it's worked out pretty well for China. overall. But yeah, they are not a fully socialist country, a fully socialist economy. They do have a hybrid model, modern day China. Now, back in the day, they used to have a fully socialist society, and their economy was not doing well. It wasn't until they created this hybrid model that you saw the massive economic gains that we think of when we think of today's China. So yeah, that's the difference between socialism and communism. Just want to make that clear, explain it. I've done it a couple times in my videos, but I figured I'd do it again because it's been a long time. I think it's been about 2 or 3 years since I went over it in a video. So many of you guys who've been on the channel even for a while might not have heard this discussion. So I hope some of you guys found that helpful. Let's go ahead and end the episode here. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. Do hope to see you guys on the next one. And thanks for watching.